Hey guys, Octavian here. I have spent the last 2 days on stream setting up and planning out and setting up a Elder Ring on my Atlas. As you can see right here, this is the finished product. And I got a lot of questions as I was going because it is sort of the hot topic of the moment in the Path of Exile community in regards to Atlas manipulation and how mapping strategies and that sort of thing. And so I just wanted to put together this YouTube video to sort of walk people through the steps that I took to build my ring, the decisions as to why I chose the ring I did, and how that might impinge on the decisions that you make. First thing you might notice, if you are a connoisseur perhaps of Elder Rings, is that this one is a bit smaller than some others. Not smaller in total number of maps, because of the way that Elder Rings work. Any Elder Ring is going to have 30 maps in it. But smaller in that it only encompasses a single side of the Atlas, as you can see here, and doesn't loop all the way around down to, say, the Haunted Mansion area like a lot of other rings will. And this was because I was pretty set on which maps I wanted to include. I definitely wanted Leyline for beast farming reasons. There's a Waste Lurcher base type beast that, with the right mod, can be worth quite a bit, and that does naturally spawn in Leyline. I wanted Reef for a similar reason, beast farming, not the same beast. You look for high little octopuses or octopi there with Krashik presence. And I also definitely wanted Underground Sea. So getting all three of those into the same loop sort of locked me in a way to the left side of the Atlas. So that's why we're over here, which was actually a bit of a fortuitous thing, because not having to stretch my loop all the way to this side of the Atlas made it a lot easier to actually build it out. But that's getting a little bit ahead of myself. For those of you unfamiliar perhaps with what an Elder Loop is, who have not been plugged into exactly what mapping strategies are popular as of late, let me explain to you the basic concept here. First off, the first step in understanding an Elder Loop is realizing just how powerful Elder Influence is. It will add lots and lots and lots of additional monsters to your map if you have Elder Influence in your map. You can get Elder Portals, which are the best mod you can get. Basically, whenever you run an Elder map, it rolls the dice on what will be added to that map. Sometimes you'll get portals, and the portals themselves drop quite a bit of loot, and the monsters they spawn can as well. Sometimes you'll get packs of Elder spawn creatures. I don't know what they're actually officially called. They usually die too quickly for me to see their names, but small eyeball tentacle creatures that float around in packs can do quite a bit of damage if you let them, but are fairly squishy and basically just another sextant added to your map. Or you can get, what are they? Tentacle miscreations. That's not the name, that's the things in Piety's area in the story, but wandering little tentacle creatures that have a maddening presence aura and are a little annoying to deal with and kill, but do actually have really high quantity values and almost invariably will drop some piece of currency when killed. So obviously all of these are very nice to have in your map for varying different reasons, and then you stack on top of that the fact that you can get Elder drops, which can be worth so very much money. I got a helmet in Reef that sold for 10x by itself. I've had quite a few smaller numbers, 10C, 20C sales here or there for decent Elder and Shaper pieces of gear, so influence in general is highly desirable. And so we then come to the question of, well, how do we ensure influence is on every map we run, because that obviously would be the ideal. And that brings you to an Elder Loop. There's a few rules for how Elder operates. You can only have a maximum of 30 maps covered by Elder at any one time, and Elder must be connected to any existing guardians that he has. It's really just those two things in conjunction with one another that allow the creation of an Elder Loop. So what's happening here is, you see we have Elder spawned on Bog, and we have a Guardian down here on Bone Crypt. My initial Elder spawn had Elder on Bog, a Guardian on Waste Pool, a Guardian on Mud Geyser, Guardian on Bone Crypt, obviously, and then one random Guardian up there at Overgrown Ruin that wasn't particularly relevant. This was a very nice spawn because it meant that between Elder and one of his Guardians, there were 2 free maps. This made for a lot of extra space for me to split the loop. Now, what I mean by that is essentially what I want to do is get 30 maps between Elder and his Guardian with no thickening of the loop. So if we look at this, you'll see that at any given point, it is a 1 map wide structure. I don't really know how to term that. Like even here where it looks like it's 2 maps wide, there's not actually a connection here. So that's still, even though the sort of blob surrounding it looks like it gets a bit wider, this is still just a 1 map wide path. There we go, that's a good word. And actually also Guardians are connected to each other through Shaper's Realm, interestingly enough. So this is still a connected line here, even though it has a break visually. Basically, just ignore the visuals. They're confusing, and pay attention to these small, very difficult to see lines. I really wish they would make these easier to notice. So what you'll see is there's a 1 map thick line going all the way around, with the exception of Dungeon that I'll get to in a moment, that loops over here, connects like so, goes down around this way, and goes all the way over to the Guardian. This means, since this is exactly 30 maps, that Elder can't grow any further, so we can't have any further points of attack from Shaper, and Shaper cannot take an Elder map right now, because even if I go and run something like Waterways, which Shaper is right next to on Orchard, normally Shaper would then take that map, and we'd switch the influence over, but if he did that, he would disconnect Elder from his Guardian, which the game doesn't allow. So the solution the game goes with is just, well, you got me, and allows you to keep Elder there on that map, because it has to in order to keep Elder connected to his Guardian. And so that's the basic concept. The execution, though, can be a little fuzzy for some people, because how do you get from that Elder spawn that I described to this? And that is a multi-step process that involves a lot of RNG, involves a lot of tedious busy work in maps, and can be frustrating. But trust me, in the end, it is worth it. First off, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab this very useful tool. Let me pull it up on my browser here. poecraft.com/atlas. This is going to help you out a lot. So if we take my Elder spawn that I had, and I use this tool to plan my ring, so you can just go over here to the top right, create an Elder ring, check whether or not you have Uber Elder unlocked. For me, I do, which that allows Elder to pad through Guardian maps. So if you need him to do that, then you'll have to unlock Uber Elder. You don't have to do Uber Elder, you just have to make it so that you're capable of reaching that through the quest line. So you have to get 15 out of 15 memory fragments. And then we put Elder where I have him, which is on Bog. We put Guardians where I had those, which was these 4 maps. And then we choose the maps that I absolutely definitely want in my loop, which for me was Underground Sea, Reef, and Leyline. I believe I also clicked Dark Forest. I do like Dark Forest as well. Good div cards in there. Good div card, singular. Find Elder Ring. There we go. Just took it a moment. And there you go. As you can see, it plans it out for you. Now, the next step to get here, which poecraft.com/atlas, again, use that, very powerful resource. The next step to get there for me was a little more convoluted. What I then did, at the advice of a friend of mine, was not to go for completing the ring immediately, because if you do that, until you have the ring completed all the way around, Shaper can take your maps, because you won't be disconnected from your Guardian at that point. Because you only make the final break of disconnecting Elder from his Guardian once you're connected all the way around. Basically, these 2 Guardians need to remain, or these 2 maps need to remain, so that Elder is connected to his Guardian until you've made this connection all the way around, or else, well, you can't get rid of that influence, actually, because Elder has to be connected to the Guardian, because of the same exact rule in the manipulation of Elder that we're trying to take advantage of. You know, it's sort of used against us there. So that means if you try and make the whole loop all at once, especially if you're making a larger loop that goes out this way, for instance, then you're just going to get cut off by Shaper over and over again. It'll be a days-long project instead of an hours-long one. So what you want to do instead, and what I did, was I went around this way and up through Lava Chamber, Armory, Vault, Orchard, Sepulcher, into Belfry. Or I think actually I started Orchard into Waterways. And I made a much smaller loop, just like this size. And then cut off Waste Pool and Mud Geyser. And then I had my break, you know. So Shaper couldn't take any of these maps. He couldn't take any of these maps, because now if he were to do that, then it wouldn't be connected to a Guardian anymore. And then from there, I slowly stretched out 1 or 2 maps at a time. So instead of going through Lava Chamber and Armory and Vault, I went through, say, Atoll and Ramparts and then down to Armory, and then I could cut out Lava Chamber. And then from there, I went up to, Gorge, Channel, and just slowly adding on smaller bit after smaller bit until I had lengthened the loop to the appropriate point. Now, if you're going to take that approach, what you have to be careful of, and perhaps my specific example will help you, is Elder reconnecting to his Guardian here, because as soon as he does that, then Shaper can attack your loop again, and he can break it in half, and you can lose a ton of progress. So what you want to do is just every time you're on a map, for me, I checked back. Has Elder taken back Waste Pool? Has Elder taken back Mud Geyser? If he did, I have to take one of those, and that's why it's so nice to have a 2-map break, because you have a little bit of leeway. If he takes back Waste Pool, okay, you're not completely ruined yet, because he also needs Mud Geyser in order to connect. So you just go do Waste Pool and you're fine. Has he taken Mud Geyser? Well, you're fine because he hasn't taken Waste Pool, but it does need your attention. Go deal with Mud Geyser. And that's basically the process I went with. The last few map additions were a little bit annoying to make because Elder can only have a maximum of 30, and by the time I was out close to the edge of my ring, I had maybe 1 map spare to play with, and every time I went to run a map, Elder would take over some random map on the edge. He really liked to take over Sunken City over and over again, which was kind of expensive to go and run a lot, but in the end, it did work out, and I ended up with this nice little loop here where now in the configuration I have it in, I can run any of these maps on my Atlas any amount of times, won't break the loop at all. I can go run 50 waterways if I want to. They'll all be Elder influenced all in a row. I can do a bunch of Dark Forest, bunch of Reefs, on both of these Guardians if I want to. The only maps I can't run both Forge of the Phoenix and Minotaur without then running them again, because if I give Elder all 4 of these, he'll just teleport over here and become Uber Elder, which I definitely don't want. I can't run Dungeon because that will give Shaper an in on that corner, and he can potentially break my loop, I believe. No real reason to want to run Dungeon anyway, just a tier 1 map. Actually, no, the reason I can't run Dungeon, that would free up the 1 extra map I have, because my loop actually consists of 29 maps. Dungeon is my 30th. If I run this, it'll free up the 1 extra map my loop has, and then that'll start wandering around, and it could wander over here, and there's some danger of reconnecting, though I think since I have a 2 map break that wouldn't actually be that much of a risk, but it's easiest just to pocket that up in Dungeon and forget about it. And I can't run Bone Crypt and kill the Guardian, because if I kill that Guardian, then all of this becomes irrelevant, and Elder's just consigned to this 1 little map here. So that's 4 maps I can't run, and some of them I can if I really want to. Like, I could run Forge of the Phoenix, so long as I don't then immediately also run a Maze of the Minotaur afterwards without running another Forge of the Phoenix, which is a very specific thing I can't do. So this is really not very limiting at all in terms of my Atlas. I can go farm stuff over here if I want to, outside of Influence, if I ever want to do that. I can farm these Shaper maps. That won't do anything because Elder's at 30-30. He can't grow anymore. I can go run some Shaper Influence maps if I want, and actually Mausoleum, Shaped Waste Pool. These are both very nice maps. Gorge, even. I could shape that up to being a T9. That's fine to run. Sunken City's an okay map. Plaza's a piece of garbage, but I'm not going to run it. But yeah, there's a lot of freedom in this setup, and it's really, after you set it up, it's just money pouring into your pockets. It's crazy how profitable this is. So if you guys have any questions on how you could potentially set up your own Elder Rings, get in touch with me through my Discord, or leave a comment in the YouTube comment section below. I'd be happy to help you out. I'm no expert, but now that I've built my own, I feel a little bit more confident in troubleshooting some, so I'd be happy to help you. And of course, you can always follow me and ask me any questions live on my Twitch stream. I stream there every day, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hope to see you there, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one, friends.